Hello you guys, I'm Rachel. I just auditioned for K-Pop Star Season 3 in Atlanta. I figured that a lot of people would be curious about the experience, so I figured I would make a video about it, and I'm going to discuss everything from when I first got there to when I left. And I also went on the all K-pop forums, and I got a few questions, so I'll answer those at the end. Okay, registration started at 8 a.m. and it was at this hotel. So I got there at 7:50, and there was only like a bit of a line outside the hotel, but it wasn't too bad. So I ended up standing there for like an hour and 20 minutes. It was ridiculous. And I was in like 6-inch heels, you know. But it was really interesting because they had all the staff outside, and so they'd occasionally they'd have like a photographer like go down, like take some pictures. I think they also took some videos of like some people dancing and stuff. And then there was one point where they had all of us like, okay, like get close to each other, you know, get on one side of the sidewalk. We're gonna have the cameraman come down. We want you guys to like scream and everything, because they gave us these nifty little posters here while we were waiting in line. So they wanted us to like, woo, you know, like yeah, K-Pop Star Season 3. Okay, so yeah, that was basically like just waiting for registration. So after that, the line started moving. Luckily, I was at like the front half of the line, so it didn't take me too long. So I went through registration, and for some reason, you have to have, if you did online registration, it was 2 copies of your application and your consent form. And the reason for this is that when you actually like go into the room to start your audition, there's going to be more than one judge there, so you need to hand them your applications. But so you went through registration, and you got one of these little sticker. I was A19. And then you are directed to this room. It's kind of like, you know, in big hotels they have like the business room. So they had this stage at the front, and they had 2 sections of seating, and they had like a screen over here that was showing some like K-pop videos. So we sat in there for like an hour-ish before they were like, okay. So then they explained to us that what they wanted to do is that, you know, we've got like K-pop, you know, fans from all over the world, and like here we want to show like Atlanta, like how energetic they are. So they made us go outside with our posters, and we walked a bit, and we ended up on this hill, and they had this camera there, and what they wanted us to do is they wanted us to first be like, they'd count on 3, 2, 1, and it'd be like K-Pop Star Season 3, and then you get your posters and go, woo! You know, so you did that a few times. And then there was another time where they handed us paper airplanes. And once again, they'd count down, and we'd say K-Pop Star Season 3, and then we'd throw the paper airplanes. I don't know what that was symbolic of, but it was like, okay, can we just go on pre-audition? But I don't know if this was before that or after that, but they had 2 guys on stage. One was obviously speaking Korean, the other one was translating, and they were talking about, you know, like, oh, like K-pop star, like, God, I don't remember what they talked about. It was kind of motivating though, you know. It was like some of you will pass, some of you won't, and they also talked about what happens if you pass. What they'll do is they'll tell you after your audition immediately if you passed. And if you did, they'll tell you to come back to the hotel at like 6 p.m. or something, and then you audition again. And then if you pass that one, that's when you get a free ticket to South Korea, and you get a free hotel in South Korea, and that's when you go on the show, and everything wonderful happens. So I sat in there for a while, and then eventually they started calling out the letters and the numbers. So at first it was like A 1 through 10 and B 1 through 10. So it was like they took them, and it was really cute because they'd have them stand in a line in the middle, and then once they started walking down, everyone was like, good luck, and they were clapping for them, and they do that for like every group that was called. So that was really cute. That was nice of the people. So I had to wait in there a while, and then the lady was like, okay, there's a Starbucks in here, there's a restaurant over there if you want to go get food or something. But I was A19, so of course I was like, well, I'm like gonna get called soon. So then they called A 11 through 15 and B 11 through 15. So more people like, oh, good luck. And then they called my group, which is B 16 through 20, and A 16 through 20 and B 16 through 20. So you got in line, as usual, like they're taking pictures of you, all this stuff. And so what you do is they direct you, and there was like this little hallway, and there was one group of people sitting down, and we had to go past them to another row of seats, and we sat down, and then that was when you actually like waited for your audition. And so there's this guy, he's like, okay, you're gonna hand him your papers, if you pass, like show it on your face. Okay, so you sat there, and I thought it was really interesting. I really liked this, how instead of having like the entire group go into the room, they'd have them one by one. So, someone would go in and you move down. And it was really funny because you can tell when people pass because you'd hear them screaming. But, yeah, you could hear the people singing and stuff. So, it went on and went on. And eventually, it was my turn. So, what I did is you enter the room, and you have to give the judges your papers, your consent form, your application, whatever. And then there's like these footprints on the ground, and you stand there. Now, what I thought was really interesting is that they told you on the website that you need to sing 30 seconds of a Korean song and then 60 seconds of an English song, and to bring background music. The two people before me, they had background music, but I had my iPod with me too. So I asked them, they're like singing, and I was like, do you want background music? And they're like, no. And so I was like, okay. I mean, I think I was like, it's really interesting though. I wonder why they didn't want me to have background music, but other people did. Like, that was just way random. So I sang my songs, and the first one, they told you to sing your best song first. So I sang the first chorus part of I Dream by 15 and oh my god, I was so nervous, and you could hear it in my voice. And so then they're like, okay, do you have another song? And so I was like, oh, okay. The thing is with the English song is that I don't listen to like American music, and so I was kind of like, oh, English song. I was like, I like Only Exception by Paramore. So I sang that. Then it was like literally a last minute decision last night, and so I started singing the chorus part, and it's like repetitive. And so the guy cut me off. I forgot to mention it's 3 people. I thought it was really interesting is one of the judges was the guy that gave the speech, and oh my god, he looks like someone, and I can't. Maybe it's just me, but he looks like someone, and I can't think of a name. But anyways, so they talked in Korean, and they're like, sorry, your pitch was off or something, so like thank you, which doesn't really surprise me because I could hear it in my voice that I was like, oh, I was nervous, and it really sucks because I know I can sing that song well otherwise. It's just that I was so nervous. So obviously I didn't pass, so I had to grab my stuff from the waiting room and I left. I forgot to mention a few things. First of all, I thought it was really interesting because they mentioned that they had more people than they expected. So I was like, so hopefully that means they'll have an audition in Atlanta next year. So like I said, I had a few questions on all K-pop. Let me pull those up. Okay. Funny Guy 69 asks, were there a lot of people? If you had passed, what would have happened next? What did you sing? Were there a lot of people? They thought there were. I didn't think there was. There was like maybe 300 at the most. I didn't think it was a lot of people, but I don't know. If you passed, what would have happened next? Well, like I said, you would have gone back for an audition later that evening. And if you passed that, that's when you go to South Korea. What did I sing? 15 and I Dream and Only Exception by Paramore. Okay. So Chess Power asks, how much time it takes to let you go in, how much time you waited until it's your turn, how much songs you need to prepare for the auditions, and if you do bad at first, do they give you another chance to prove yourself? And who was the judge? Okay, how much time it took me to go in? Well, like I said, it was like an hour and 20 minutes before I actually the line started moving. And then once I got inside, it was like another hour before we did that thing outside. So it was a good while. I mean, I got there at 7:50, and I didn't audition until like 12:30, I think. It's ridiculous. So how much time I waited until my turn basically just answered that. How many songs do you need to prepare for the auditions? 2. They said a Korean song and an English song, but I thought it was really interesting because after I sang I Dream, they're like, do you have another song? They didn't ask if it was in English or anything, so I thought that was really interesting. If you do bad at first, did they give you another chance to prove yourself? I don't know. I mean, I guess I didn't sound too terrible. I honestly can't answer that question. Who was the judge? Well, there was 3 judges. 2 of them were just like normal staff people, but I think the guy on the left, who was the guy I was talking about, that reminded me of someone else, I think he looked like an important person. I don't know who his name was, but so yeah. Okay. Let me see. Oh, okay. So Mere Love wants to know, were the people bad? There were some people, like, you could obviously hear them. So there were some of them I was like, no. But there were also some people that were pretty good, and they didn't make it, which I thought was really interesting. Also, I thought it was really interesting because when I made this thread, someone was like, you know, I'm Korean, you know, I talked to the people, like the staff, because they're all Korean, and they were talking about how, like, let me find the post. They want to show how diverse K-pop is, but apparently they don't care if, like, us non-Asians don't pass or not, and apparently they are, like, were in agreement to not pass most of the non-Asians, so I thought it was really interesting. Of course, I don't speak Korean. I thought the staff people seemed really nice. Of course, what do I know? They could be really nice. Maybe they were talking really bad things about us. I don't know. But yeah, I do remember there was a lot of cameras from non-Asians, so that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I don't know. So that's it for the questions. I also want to give some advice. The first thing would be, like, dress nicely. It really baffled me how many people were dressed, like, really casually. And I understand that it's not about looks, but I think when you dress nicely, it shows that you care and that you really want this. You know, like, dressing casually. Like, okay, here's what I wore. I wore this dress, very nice dress, and I wore some heels, which I was going to show, but then I packed them up. Whoops. A second thing that I want to say is just have confidence. Like, the moment you enter that audition room, they're judging you. Like, that sounds really mean, but it's true. So, like, don't look down, have good posture, like, keep your head up, you know, look at them, don't, like, look down when you're singing. Sing loud. I mean, it's a singing audition, like, they're gonna want to hear your voice. And a third piece of advice I want to give is there's really nothing to be nervous about, because the worst thing they can do is tell you, sorry, you know, you blah blah blah, you didn't pass, but thank you. I mean, really, there's nothing to be nervous about. I just wish I could explain that better, but I mean, it's not like the end of the world if you don't pass. So that's it for my video on the process of K-pop star audition season 3 for Atlanta. If you guys have any questions, post them in the comments and I will answer them. Thanks!